What does that mean?
To me, I think in answering that question that I was asked by a gentleman this morning on the way in, I do think he's the greatest football player that has ever lived. I do think he's the greatest football player that's ever lived. That is not a bias. That is me just looking at answering that question of who I think I would want to trust to win me a football match most in the most different ways, and who is the most complete player. Now, if you add to that, if you just let me finish, if you add to that the fact that, you know, you've got Ronaldo and Messi's... Sorry, just look at Messi's goals and Ronaldo's goals, because it always comes back to this. And look, there's no doubt that Messi scored an obscene amount of goals, is a ridiculous player. But Ronaldo, the two big differences for me, or three big differences...
Because it's incredibly similar.
It is. Apart from the wrong-footed goals, the headers, which Ronaldo scored 4 or 5 times more, Ronaldo scored probably, I think, 30-40% more with his wrong foot, and he scored more penalties. So it just took me to a point whereby he was more complete in terms of the big end of the most important part of the game. And then to a point of the last point, which I think is the most important thing that tips it over the edge even more, is that international record of the most international goals ever. The fact that he's won 5 Champions Leagues with teams that aren't as good as Messi's team. You know, the Ballon d'Ors are very similar. Messi's won more league titles with that Barcelona team. But I just feel that the international goals record and the Champions Leagues, aligned with the variety of goals that he scores, even though they're very similar, takes me to think that he is the greatest football player of all time.